This house gave us one of England's most iconic monarchs. But who were the other members of the Tudor family and what happened to them? Hello everyone. I am here to tell you about a very important dynasty in English history, the Tudors. When you think of the Tudor family, you probably think of Henry VIII, the man with 6 wives and a penchant for breaking from the Catholic Church. He is arguably one of the most famous monarchs in all of England's history. And his daughters, Mary and Elizabeth, are also well known. Mary, of course, because she was a Catholic queen trying to restore England to the Catholic faith, even though she executed many Protestants during her reign. And Elizabeth, the last Tudor monarch, the Virgin Queen who managed to outlive all of her children and brought England into the Protestant era. But there were other members of the Tudor family, and today I want to explore what happened to those Tudors. To understand what happened to the rest of the Tudors, we first have to look at how Henry VIII came to power. You see, he wasn't the heir apparent. That honor went to his older brother, Arthur. But Arthur died before Henry, and so Henry became the Prince of Wales, and then the king when their father. Henry VII died in 1509. Henry VIII had several siblings. There was an older sister named Margaret, who married the Scottish King James IV, thus uniting the two kingdoms through marriage. And there were 2 younger siblings, a brother named Edmund and a sister named Mary. Edmund never really held any royal titles, but he did hold the courtesy title of Earl of Sussex. Mary was given the courtesy title of Lady Mary Tudor, but that's not a real title. It just means that she's the daughter of the king. She didn't get a real title until she married King Charles Brandon, Duke of Suffolk, when she became the Duchess of Suffolk. When Henry VIII came to power, he had one son, Henry Fitzroy, who was born out of wedlock with one of Henry's mistresses. Henry loved this boy and actually gave him the title of Duke of Richmond and Somerset, but he never legitimized him, meaning Henry Fitzroy could not inherit the throne. He died in 1536, presumably of cancer. His title passed to another of Henry's illegitimate sons, who died young, and then to another of Henry's illegitimate sons, who also died young. So Henry Fitzroy ended up being the last person to hold that title. Henry VIII and his wife, Elizabeth of York, had one legitimate son who died in infancy.
Brought the why?
So their only surviving legitimate child was a daughter, Princess Elizabeth. Henry had been very ambivalent about having daughters, but after his son died, he doted on Elizabeth, along with his other surviving legitimate daughter, Mary. After the death of Elizabeth of York, Henry VIII married Anne Boleyn, who finally gave him a legitimate son, the future King Edward VI. Mary and Elizabeth were declared illegitimate, which meant they couldn't inherit the throne. And for Mary, that meant losing her title of Duchess of Suffolk. So she took on the courtesy title of Lady Mary Grey instead. Then there was Anne's younger sister, Mary, who married Henry's longtime friend, Charles Brandon, Duke of Suffolk. So Mary Anne Boleyn was the Duchess of Suffolk. This caused some problems for King Henry, who wanted his daughter Mary to marry the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. And since Mary was still technically a princess, she shouldn't be married. But she was. So Henry stripped Mary Anne Boleyn of her title, but she kept the title of Marchioness of Exeter, which she had gained through her first marriage. Anne Boleyn herself lost her head in 1536 after falling out of favor with the king, and her daughters were declared illegitimate, although they would later be restored to the succession. Mary and Elizabeth both married after Henry's death in 1547. Mary married the future Philip II of Spain, and Elizabeth married Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester. They never had children, hence the names of these 2 poor, unfortunate ladies. Mary Tudor died in 1558, leaving no legitimate heirs. Elizabeth succeeded her brother Edward VI to the throne in 1558 and reigned until her death in 1603. She was succeeded by her cousin James VI of Scotland, who became James I of England. Robert Dudley died in 1588, but Elizabeth and Dudley remained remarkably close throughout their relationship, and she was deeply affected by his death. Let's now move over to Henry VIII's other wives and their children. Henry VIII and Elizabeth of York had one child together, Princess Mary, who married Charles Brandon, Duke of Suffolk, and they had several children. Their eldest son, Henry Brandon, Duke of Suffolk, died in infancy. Their next son, Charles Brandon, Earl of Essex, married Elizabeth Hastings, with whom he had several children, but he died in 1559. That meant that their third son, Edward Brandon, became the Duke of Suffolk. He married Catherine Spencer, and they had several children. But he died in 1564, making his younger brother, Henry Brandon, the fourth Duke of Suffolk. He married Margaret, daughter of John Neville, Baron of Abergavenny, and they had several children, but he died in 1572. His younger brother, another Henry Brandon, was killed in battle fighting against the Spanish in 1576. Leaving the dukedom to pass to their youngest brother, the fourth Earl of Essex, he married twice. But he died without issue, making their cousin the son of the original Charles Brandon and Elizabeth Brandon, the sixth Duke of Suffolk. He married an Agar, daughter of Thomas Agar, first Baron d'Agar, and they had several children. But he died in 1583, making his eldest son the seventh Duke of Suffolk. He married Elizabeth, daughter of William Fitzwilliam, third Earl of Southampton, and they had several children. But he died in 1586, making his brother the eighth Duke of Suffolk. He married Catherine Grey, daughter of Henry Grey, Duke of Suffolk, and they had several children. But he died in 1594, making his brother, the last Duke of Suffolk, the ninth to hold the title. He married Elizabeth Waldegrave, and they had a son, the 10th Duke of Suffolk, who died in infancy. Was succeeded by his younger brother, the 11th Duke of Suffolk, married in Stanhope, and they had several children. He died in 1618, leaving the dukedom to pass to his son, the 12th Duke of Suffolk, who married Anne, daughter of Sir Robert Heath, and they had several children. He died in 1626, leaving the dukedom to pass to his brother, the 13th Duke of Suffolk. He married Elizabeth, daughter of Sir Thomas Gaw, and they had several children, but he died in 1642, and so the male line of Henry VIII and Elizabeth of York ended with him. Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn had one child together, Princess Elizabeth, who married Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester. Henry VIII and Jane Seymour had one son together, King Edward VI. He married twice, but he had no children. Henry VIII and Anne of Cleves had no children. Henry VIII and Catherine Howard had one child together, a daughter named Catherine, who was sent to a nunnery and later became the wife of Henry's former friend, Thomas Culpeper. Henry VIII and Catherine Parr had no children together, but Catherine was stepmother to Mary and Elizabeth. So that was the end of the Tudor dynasty. Who are your favorite Tudor and why? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching.